Have you ever wondered how to truly understand someone's character without relying on what they say or the image they present? What if I told you that the secret lies in just two simple things: how they treat people who can't offer them anything, and whether they keep their promises? These behaviors, hidden in plain sight, are more revealing than you've been led to believe. Here's why this matters right now. We live in a world where appearances are deceiving and words are often empty. If you don't know what to look for, you risk trusting the wrong people, getting hurt, or missing out on genuine connections. This knowledge isn't new. Ancient wisdom and modern psychology both point to these behaviors as the keys to understanding true character. Yet this truth has been buried beneath the noise of superficial interactions. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and revealing what's been hidden. Before it's too late, before another broken promise or fake smile misleads you, it's time to see people for who they truly are. The first is this: how does someone treat those who can't do anything for them? Think about it. It's easy to be kind and respectful to people who hold power, who can offer you something in return: a promotion, a favor, or even social approval. But when someone interacts with a person who has nothing to give back, no influence, no ability to repay their kindness, that's when their true nature is revealed. Do they treat the waiter with the same respect as their boss? Are they polite to the stranger on the street, or do they dismiss them as irrelevant? These small, seemingly insignificant moments aren't insignificant at all. They're windows into someone's core values, into how they see the world and the people in it. Real empathy isn't selective. It doesn't depend on status or what someone can offer in return. When you watch how someone treats the powerless, the unseen, or the forgotten, you see their true character. You see whether their kindness comes from a place of genuine care, or if it's simply a performance for the people they think matter. It's in these moments that you understand whether someone operates from a mindset of connection and compassion, or from one of judgment and hierarchy. The second thing to pay attention to is whether someone keeps their promises. It doesn't matter if it's a big commitment or a small one. Promises reveal integrity. They show whether someone values the trust you place in them. When someone says they'll show up at a certain time or follow through on a task, and they do, it speaks volumes about their character. It's not just about the act of keeping a promise. It's about what that act represents: respect, reliability, and care for the person they made the commitment to. On the flip side, when someone constantly breaks promises, whether they're always late, cancel plans last minute, or fail to follow through on their word, it tells you something just as important. It tells you that their words and actions aren't aligned. Maybe they mean well, but they haven't cultivated the discipline or self-awareness to honor their commitments. Or maybe they simply don't place much value on the trust they've been. Either way, it's a signal worth noticing. Promises are about more than the surface-level actions they involve. They're about trust. Every time someone breaks a promise, even a small one, they chip away at the trust in the relationship. And once trust starts to erode, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. But when someone consistently keeps their promises, no matter how small, they strengthen that trust. They show you that they're someone you can rely on, not just in the easy moments, but in the challenging ones too. So why do these two things, how someone treats those who can't reciprocate, and whether they keep their promises, reveal so much about character? Because their behavior's rooted in values. They're not about performance or appearances, they're about what's happening beneath the surface. These actions stem from a person's beliefs about respect, empathy, and accountability. And unlike words or outward personas, which can be crafted and manipulated, these behaviors are hard to fake. They're the moments when someone's true self comes through, whether they intend it to or not. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. What do your own actions say about your character? How do you treat people when there's nothing to gain? Do you follow through on your commitments, even when it's inconvenient? It's not about being perfect, none of us are. But self-awareness is the first step toward growth. When you start to observe your own behavior with the same clarity, you begin to align your actions with the values you hold, and as you do, you'll find that your relationships deepen and your sense of integrity grows stronger. But this isn't just about self-reflection, it's also about empowerment. When you understand these two principles, you can navigate relationships with greater confidence and clarity. You'll know who to trust, who to invest in, and who might not have your best interests at heart. You'll stop being swayed by appearances or words alone, because you'll know how to look deeper. And when you do, you'll find that your connections become more authentic, more meaningful, and more aligned with your own values. So, the next time you meet someone new or evaluate the people already in your life, remember these two simple observations. Watch how they treat those who can't give them anything in return. Pay attention to whether they keep their promises. These are the moments when character isn't just shown, it's revealed. And once you start seeing people through this lens, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. When you start to pay attention to these two behaviors, something remarkable happens. You begin to see through the masks that people wear. The small, unnoticed moments become profound revelations. Imagine someone who speaks about kindness and fairness, who presents themselves as empathetic and caring, but then you see how they treat a server at a restaurant, or how they speak to a janitor, or someone who can't help. Those interactions show you who they truly are, far more than any grand gesture or rehearsed speech ever could. On the other hand, think about someone who might not say much about their values but who consistently shows up. They keep their word, whether it's a promise to call you back or a commitment to help you move on a Saturday morning. They treat everyone, no matter their status, with respect and dignity. These actions tell you everything you need to know about their character. But why do these observations matter so much? Because trust and authenticity are the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether it's a friendship, a partnership, or even a professional connection. When you understand someone's true character, you can make better decisions about who to let into your life, who to rely on, and who to keep at arm's length. You stop wasting energy on people who don't align with your values, and you focus on building relationships that uplift and support you. Now let's go deeper. These two behaviors, how someone treats those who can't reciprocate and whether they keep their promises, aren't just random indicators. They're rooted in fundamental psychological principles. Behavioral psychology teaches us that actions speak louder than words, because actions stem from deeply ingrained beliefs and values. People might say what they think you want to hear, but their behavior in unguarded moments reveals their true nature. For instance, treating someone with kindness and respect, even when there's no expectation of getting something in return, shows a mindset of empathy and equality. It demonstrates that the person sees value in others simply because they're human, not because of what they can offer. This is a powerful indicator of emotional intelligence and integrity. Similarly, keeping promises reflects a sense of accountability and self-respect. When someone follows through on their commitments, it shows that they value not only the other person's trust, but also their own word. It's a sign that they understand the weight of their actions and the impact they have on others. Breaking promises, on the other hand, often reveals a lack of self-discipline, foresight, or regard for the feelings of others. But here's the twist. This isn't just about evaluating others. It's also about growing yourself. When you start observing these behaviors in others, it naturally prompts you to examine your own. Ask yourself, how do I treat people when there's nothing to gain? Am I quick to dismiss or overlook them? Or do I treat them with the same kindness I'd want to receive? And what about my promises? Do I follow through, even when it's inconvenient? Or do I let commitments slide, thinking they don't matter as much as I thought they did in the moment? Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. The more you reflect on these questions, the more you align your actions with the person you want to be. This process isn't about guilt or judgment, it's about empowerment. When you choose to treat others with genuine kindness and to honor your commitments, you build not just trust with others but also trust in yourself. And that trust becomes a source of confidence and strength in every aspect of your life. The beauty of these two observations is their simplicity. You don't need to analyze someone for years or dig through layers of complexity to understand their character. Just watch how they treat the waiter, the stranger, or the person who has nothing to offer. Pay attention to whether their words match their actions, whether they show up when they say they will. These moments tell you everything. But here's where the real magic happens. As you start to see the world through this lens, you'll notice that your relationships begin to change. You'll naturally gravitate toward people who share your values, those who uplift you, inspire you, and reciprocate the energy you give. You'll also start to release relationships that drain you or feel misaligned. And as you do, you'll find yourself surrounded by authenticity, by connections that feel meaningful and true. So, as you move forward, keep these two principles in mind. Let them guide you in understanding others and in growing yourself, because the way someone treats those who can't give anything back and their ability to keep their promises aren't just reflections of their character, they're reflections of their soul. And when you learn to recognize these qualities, once you start observing these two behaviors in others, you'll also notice something else: patterns. The way someone treats those who can't offer them anything, or whether they keep their promises, isn't random. It's a reflection of their values and priorities, and those don't change from one situation to the next. If someone consistently shows kindness to people in positions of power, but dismisses or mistreats those who are beneath them, that tells you everything you need to know. They value status over humanity, appearance over authenticity. And that pattern won't just affect strangers, it will eventually affect you too. Think about it. If someone can easily break a promise to someone else, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? If they can show cruelty or indifference to someone they deem unimportant, what happens when they decide you no longer serve a purpose in their life? These behaviors are not isolated incidents. They're glimpses into how a person operates when the stakes are low. And if someone fails to act with integrity when it's easy, they're unlikely to rise to the occasion when it's hard. But this isn't about creating distrust or judgment toward others. It's about clarity. It's about seeing people for who they truly are, so you can make informed decisions about the energy you allow into your life. Not everyone has to be perfect, no one is, but integrity and empathy are non-negotiable for building strong, meaningful relationships. And the sooner you recognize those qualities or their absence, the easier it becomes to align yourself with the people who truly deserve your trust. Now let's turn this lens inward for a moment. Because as much as these insights help you understand others, they're also a powerful tool for self-reflection. How often do you treat people kindly, regardless of their ability to help you? Do you show the same respect to a stranger on the street as you do to someone you admire? And what about promises? Do you keep them, even when it's inconvenient? The answers can reveal not only how others might perceive you, but also how aligned you are with your own values. The beauty of this process is that it doesn't require perfection, just awareness and intention. Maybe you've noticed moments where you were impatient or dismissive. That's okay. Awareness is the first step to change. When you catch yourself in those moments, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be right now? By aligning your actions with your intentions, you not only grow as a person, but also inspire others to do the same. Because character isn't static. It's something you build with every choice, every interaction, every moment of self-awareness. Let's talk about promises for a moment, because they're more powerful than most people realize. A promise isn't just a commitment, it's a bond of trust. When you keep your word, you're telling the other person, you can rely on me, I respect you enough to follow through. But when a promise is broken, even unintentionally, it sends the opposite message. It says, your trust in me didn't matter enough. And while one broken promise might not seem like a big deal, over time it can erode even the strongest relationships. The good news is, keeping promises doesn't require perfection either. It requires communication. If you can't follow through on a commitment, be honest about it. Explain why and try to make it right. People are far more forgiving of honesty than of avoidance or empty words. It's not about always getting it right. It's about showing that you care enough to try. As you start to align your actions with these principles, you'll notice something incredible. The relationships in your life will shift. The people who value status over humanity, or who break promises without a second thought, will naturally fade from your circle. And the people who treat everyone with respect and honor their commitments will gravitate toward you. Like attracts like. When you embody empathy and integrity, you invite others to do the same, and the connections that form as a result be deeper, more authentic, and more fulfilling than anything superficial. Imagine a life where every relationship is built on mutual respect and trust. A life where you don't have to second-guess someone's intentions or wonder if they'll follow through on their word. A life where you're surrounded by people who genuinely care, not because of what you can offer them, but because of who you are. This isn't just a dream. It's a reality you can create, starting right now. So, as you move through your day, pay attention to the small moments. Watch how people treat those who can't offer them anything. Notice whether they keep their promises, and most importantly, reflect on your own actions. Because the true character isn't revealed in the grand gestures or big speeches, it's found in the quiet, unguarded moments. In the choices we make when no one's looking. These are the moments that define us, and they're the moments that matter most. So, when you begin to look at the world through the lens of these two behaviors, you'll start noticing things you never paid attention to before. The way someone interacts with the cashier at the grocery store, the tone they use when speaking to a colleague who's struggling, or how they treat a family member who may not always get it right. These moments are no longer small. They become the key to understanding who a person truly is. Picture this. Someone you admire, someone who seems polished and charming, suddenly snaps at a waiter because their order was wrong, or they ignore the janitor cleaning up a spill as if they're invisible. These aren't one-off mistakes, they're reflections of how this person sees the world. And if they're willing to dismiss or mistreat someone they deem unimportant, what does that say about their capacity for true compassion? On the other hand, imagine meeting someone who shows warmth and patience to everyone they encounter. They thank the barista by name, they hold the door open for a stranger, and they genuinely listen when someone shares their thoughts, even if they disagree. These aren't grand gestures, but they're monumental in what they reveal. They show a person who values humanity over status, connection over convenience, and that is the kind of person who brings light into the lives of those around them. But let's not forget promises, because promises are more than words. They're sacred commitments, even the small ones. Think about someone who says, "I'll call you tomorrow," and actually does. It might seem trivial, but in a world where so many people break commitments without a second thought, keeping promises is a rare and powerful act. It says, "You matter to me. I respect you enough to follow through." Now, contrast that with someone who constantly says, "Let's meet up soon," but never follows through, or who commits to helping with something but always has an excuse when the time comes. It's not about perfection, we all have moments where life gets in the way, but repeated broken promises create cracks in trust. And once trust starts to erode, it's difficult to rebuild. The beauty of this insight is that it's universal. It applies to everyone in your life. Friends, family, co-workers, even romantic partners. When you know to look for how someone treats others and whether they honor their commitments, you gain a clear and honest understanding of who they are, and you stop being swayed by appearances or charisma, and you start seeing the truth. But this is also a mirror for yourself. How do you want to be remembered? What kind of person do you want to be in the lives of others? When people think of you, do you want them to see someone who was kind and dependable? Someone who treated everyone with respect and kept their word? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who said one thing but did another? Who only showed kindness when it was convenient? The choice is yours, and it's made in the smallest moments of your day. The good news is, change is always possible. If you notice areas where you've fallen short, maybe a promise you didn't keep or a time you overlooked someone's feelings, you can choose differently moving forward. Integrity isn't about never making mistakes, it's about learning from them and striving to be better. Every act of kindness, every promise kept, strengthens not only your relationships but also your sense of self. Because when you live in alignment with your values, you feel a deep sense of peace and confidence that no external validation can provide. And here's the most powerful part. When you embody these principles, you inspire others to do the same. Your actions create a ripple effect, encouraging kindness, trust, and authenticity in everyone you interact with. Imagine a world where more people treated others with genuine respect and honored their commitments, not because they had to, but because it's who they chose to be. That it starts with the decisions you make every day. So, as you move forward, remember this. The true character is revealed not in words, but in actions. Watch how someone treats those who can't offer anything in return. Notice whether they keep their promises, no matter how small, and use these insights not only to understand others but to grow into the person you aspire to be.